Okay, so many of you have figured out by now that the random amiibo is not real. I say many, for the few, very few of you who actually downloaded the file and checked, you would find that it was a Mii brawler named April Fools with a PP for a face. I'm very proud of this joke because this is exactly the same joke that I played last year. It's the same punchline. I got people to download the file, and it's identical file, literally exactly the same file. I actually never took it out of the bin repository from last year, and I had a different excuse for people to download. So I'm very proud of my joke here, but I want to explain some of the convincing techniques that I used in this video, because it doesn't look like it, but it's a very convincing video, and I can tell it's a convincing video because I've had like 40 people ask me if it's real, okay, and like 30 of them have been very insistent that it is, and they want a tournament or they want foot. So let me explain how I did this, because like people need to know when someone who claims to be an expert or an authority on something says they're going to tell you something, right? Don't believe them at first. People can convince people no matter who it is. So right off the bat, actually, that comment, this is a bit of a lengthy explanation, but it is vital to what the hell this thing actually is. We do demonstrate at 255. Two parts there. First, I'm already like apologizing for the long explanation, but I put that in there for retention. I actually put that in there so that people would if they take that bait, they'll take the next ones that are lined up, and the next ones and the next ones. The promise of demonstration is probably the most powerful thing that I put in there besides the actual demonstration. The promise of proof of something is often stronger than the actual proof, okay? So if I tell people, in 3 minutes I'm going to show you this thing, people are going to say, well, I don't believe him now, but he says he's going to show it to me in 3 minutes.
Good morning. I apologize for my unkempt appearance.
I put this whole video together in like an hour and a half. So I actually did literally wake up, do that before class, and then go about my day.
Usually I don't make videos before I've showered, eaten, so on and so forth, but I have a long day ahead of me, so I'm trying to get this done while I still can. The random amiibo.
Okay, so this right here, you'll notice this is 18 seconds in, if you can see it at that resolution enough. So this is a YouTube trick, okay? The reason I did this at this timing, I really put thought into this. I really did. The reason that I did it about 18 seconds in is because about every 15 to 20 seconds, something has to happen, otherwise people get bored, right? If you go visit any gaming channel, if something happens every 15 to 20 seconds, or else people click away, right? Almost every popular video is like that, okay? The reason I hold up the power tag is because the random amiibo, power tag. Oh, that's interesting. It implies that you're going to use a power tag for this.
Is a thing. I post on the community post that this is the absolute worst day to post a video like this. But then I was like, oh, it's just...
The community post was calculated. So the community post was basically intended to agree, okay? So there's a thing called a false agreement, right? Which is where, I come to you and I say, wow, here's this really crazy thing. I can't believe it either, but it's true, right? You see that a lot in fake Amazon reviews. Wow, I didn't believe the ad, but it lived up to its name or something like that, right? I'm agreeing with you. Say the community post was supposed to agree with you ahead of time, be like, this is really crazy, but it's true, right? Build some consensus beforehand.
Silly tradition. It's going to be over by noon anyways. Who the hell cares?
The message right here, fun fact, I've never celebrated April Fool's Day. That's pretty plainly me trying to convince you it's not an April Fool's Day joke.
But no, so...
And actually, those of you who remember last year's April Fool's Day know that that's not true.
I woke up in the morning, and LML123, he's a modder, he's also a regular contributor to AmiiboDoctor.com. Thank you very much, LML, appreciate it. He told me, hey Doc, I added something to the research bin repository. Now you can download the bin file for this below, where the research bin repository is, right?
The purpose of including a bin file was strictly legitimacy. It was also the punchline, which was nice, so it kind of worked together like that. But my first reason for having the bin file was legitimacy. Most people did not check, okay? I had the link to the bin file up for 4 hours before this thing premiered. The video went up at 10 or so, and it premiered at 2 p.m., okay? 4 hours, nobody said boo about, hey, I downloaded the file and it's not a random amiibo. Not one. Okay? But if you saw with bin file in the title, you would say, oh, wow, there's proof right there. Right? And there were some people who doubted in the comments, and I said, well, the bin file's in the description.
He told me, I upload something to the bin repository, and I want you to download and scan it out. And I'm like, oh, it's like 7:30 in the morning. What are you yelling at me for? So I did. I put it on my power saves and scanned it, and here it is. Ta-da! It's a random amiibo.
Repetition. So if you've watched Wolf of Wall Street, first of all, if you're under 21, don't watch it. If you're over 21, don't watch it. But if you've watched Wolf of Wall Street, when you see the phone scenes, right, the initial phone scenes, when he's selling to, I think the guy's name is John or whatever, he says John repeatedly. John, 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 right? Every other sentence, he has the guy's name in it, right? Repeating people's name to them is a good way to sell to them, right? I keep saying the words random amiibo because it keeps getting it into your head. Random amiibo, random amiibo, random amiibo, right? That's why I kept repeating it.
I know. I'm like, what the fuck is...
That... right. That's more agreement. That's me saying, this is crazy. I can't believe this is true, but it is.
He explained. I asked him, I was like, what the hell is this crap? And he told me, he was like, okay, Doc, hold on, you're 11.0.1, you wrote the post on Smashboards about how, like, Nintendo changed more than they said that they did, and it wasn't just for Wii Fit Tether. I'm like, yeah, okay. They're like, okay.
Every lie has a grain of truth, okay? Every single one, right? And this, you guys saw the Smashboards post from 11.0.1, right? Where I was like, oh, wow, there's all this new Amiibo stuff, right? So there's that grain of truth, and then this is how I build the lie around it.
They added new Amiibo AI, which we knew about. Okay. They also added this, and the reason we didn't catch this at first.
I'm putting in detail. It's not too much detail, because the only people who have too much detail are the ones who had to take time and create details, right? Which is also known as lying. The people who don't have any detail, you would only have no detail about something if you're lying, right? If it's like if you come home, you've been cheating on your girlfriend, you come home and cheating on your wife, because you shouldn't live with your girlfriend. If you're cheating on your wife and you come home and your honey asks you, hey, where you been? Well, if you do the Walter White thing where you explain every single detail, like, oh, the gas spilled on me and then it's in there, too much detail, you're lying. But if it's also like nowhere, you're lying, right? Exactly enough detail that you believe it, but I didn't go too into detail.
It's because it's actually on a different registry. So Nintendo, every time Amiibo functionality is added to a game, there's like a text file that it's just of code, but it's literally just a text file.
If you've talked before with Amiibo modders, this is kind of partially true up to this point, right? What I'm about to say is completely BS.
And it says what each Amiibo does with the serial number. So if you get this serial number, do that.
That's true.
Right? The random Amiibo is on a different registry.
That's BS.
We didn't catch it at first. It's in the same folder, but it's in a different registry. I was like, what's up with that? So I didn't catch it at first, but Alamo figured out the bin file overnight. He must have been drinking like Red Bull or something, because that guy never sleeps.
The correction, also BS, right? Why would I bother putting up a correction, right? Having a correction implies that there was truth in the first place that I missed, right?
And basically, this is it. So again, you can download the bin file in the description below. Most power saves, if you have power saves, you don't have power saves, you're SOL, and this doesn't work online. I already tested it.
So right here, this is me trying to answer questions before you've asked them, right? So your obvious question would be, well, what does it scan in on as power saves? Or what does it scan in as in power? However you rephrase the question. When you scan into power saves, what does it show as, right? Well, me brawler, me sword fighter, me gunner. I'm answering the question for you, which indicates that A, I've been down that road because that road is real, and B, it keeps you from asking too many questions.
Most power saves will pick this up as a me brawler, if I remember correctly. He said that one of his power saves said it was a me brawler, another one said it was a me gunner. Mine said it was a me sword fighter, which is like, the power saves for Amiibo have always had a problem with me Amiibo, right? Because
now, the reason I threw Jaws in here is because if you know who Jaws is, okay, he's a regular contributor to Amiibo Doctor. He's also a modder. So if you were going to share this with somebody else, you would share this with Jaws. You've got LML, who's a modern regular contributor, yours truly, and Jaws, right? All three of us would have this in common. So it makes perfect sense that Jaws would be there, right? Because it's Jaws, modern, right? Like, why not? And then the extra detail of the Black Power saves register as a gunner usually, but those are super old. That adds that's a detail to keep your interest, but it's not important enough. That's why I put an annotation. It's not important enough to be suspicious.
The name issue. Anyway, we're gonna do like a full actual testing video on this later, but let me just show this to you and prove this to you that it's actually.
Again, let me click back.
Full testing video on this later, but
we'll do the full testing video on this later. Promise of proof.
Let me just show this to you and prove this to you that this actually is a thing. So you can see it's
okay, so this right here, I do not have a modded switch. I have a vanilla switch, right? This is footage that LML123 sent me, and I recorded myself and roughly timed it so that it was like I was doing it as it was happening. So watch my hands in this.
already in. Go ahead.
Okay, so, well,
Menus.
we'll get to the font.
Okay.
So look at my hands. Joy-Con, power tag, or whichever way that goes, right? Well, who's changing it to Amiibo? It's on CPU right now. Who's changing it to Amiibo? You can see both of my hands, right? So there's the first clue that is BS, right?
And
the reason it was like a second and a half off is because I was mentally trying to remember in the video how long did it take to scan, right? When did certain things happen in the video, right?
there it is. Works just like you would expect.
Now, if you also look at the font, right? That's Monopoly font right there. That's not normal font. That's Monopoly font, right?
And there it is. Works just like you would expect it to. It just picks a character at random, uses behavior data, etc.
Now, that explanation right there, so random Amiibo is a thing on modded switches. That actually is, there's precedent for that. We've got images of that, right? That's something that's happened before, okay? So if a random Amiibo were to be real, this is how it would work, probably. I can't see another way for it to work. So if you've talked with modders before about the random Amiibo, well, this seems perfectly reasonable, you know? And you've got video right in front of you, so how do you deny it, right? So anyway, so I wanted to go over these techniques. I wanted to, explain some of, what I did. I don't want to, get everybody's hopes up and then never dash them. That would be horrible. But do be very wary of authorities trying to tell you things, of people trying to manipulate. We've got some manipulators in the scene right now. Some people just rejoined the scene and are very good at manipulating, right? Be very careful of people. I don't trust, quote unquote, authorities. Generally, I trust data and I trust principles and wisdom, right? So like when somebody, I'm not gonna lie, I lied to you for fun because April Fool's Day, right? Like, I don't really give much. I don't care enough to lie to you outside of this. So fair enough. But like generally, okay, double check. Just it's okay to be suspicious. It's okay to double check, right? Don't trust everyone all the time. I know it's April Fool's Day, so it's kind of the day you're expected to lie. It's okay to lie on April Fool's Day, like I get that. But double check. Be wary manipulators and double check. So